Hello and welcome back to Wireman's Whimsy. Today we are going to make this thank you card using the Artistically Inked set with the artistic dies. We're going to use the floral die from the set, the thanks, and we are going to also emboss the front of the card with the Tasteful Textile 3D embossing folder. So we create this using blends, and I used the die to help me line up where I needed to color with the blends, and I used the thanks stamp with crumb cake. The card base is crumb cake, and then I've got a 5 1/4 by 4 piece of crumb cake to run through the embossing folder, because I find that if I run the front of the card through the embossing folder, it really softens the paper. It makes the paper lovely, but it softens the paper and it's not as strong to stand up. So I always do a separate piece and run it through. So I will do that now just to get that done. But before I do, this one I stamped the thanks after I had run it through. So this time I'm going to stamp the thanks on the bottom of the front of the card before I run it through the embossing folder. And I've just got it right in the middle at the bottom. Just put it down like that, and then that's done. And we can run it through the embossing folder. So we're just going to line it up in there. Actually, if we flip it up this way, when you're using your embossing folders, you need to have, well, the front of the folder is the side with Stampin' Up on it, and there's a little black line, and your paper should be above that line. And again, because I don't like a hard edge going through the roller, I do put my folders on a slight angle if I can, but you always put the folded edge of the folder through first. It just helps with the integrity of the folder. So I have run that through, and we can take it out, and it is embossed and it has the thanks on it, and it looks better than if you just stamp it on afterwards because you get more coverage. So how did I do the front? When I did this one, I didn't put the adhesive back paper on it to turn it into a sticker. This one, I've put a piece of the adhesive on the back. What I'm going to do is I used Pale Papaya, Daffodil Delight, Polished Pink, and Pear Pizzazz on the front. And I used the blending brushes. Love, love, love the blending brushes. And usually when I use the blending brushes, I start off the page and bring the ink in, because you get like a circle. You get a definite circle of color. So this time though, that doesn't really matter because we're using the die to cut it out. So I know that I need to have the polished pink kind of in this area here. So you just put it down and spread it around, and you just keep checking in with your die to make sure you've got enough color in the right place, and that looks good like that. And you can put as much color. You can layer your colors if you want to do a lighter pink and then do a little bit of a darker pink in there, you can. I'm going to do the Pale Papaya next, and I know that I need to have that kind of in this area here. So I'm just going to keep adding the color. You can see the circle as it lays down. The blending brushes, once the ink dries on them, it doesn't tend to transfer anymore. But I do tend to use kind of one color per brush. Okay, so I still need to go in a little bit deeper in the middle here. There we go. There's some good saturated coverage. So I just keep using the die as a kind of template to make sure that I've got the color where I want it, and I need a little bit more color on this side here. So I will add that in, just a little bit more there. Okay, so there are some other little flowers in here, and I did want to differentiate those just a little bit. That's where I used the Daffodil Delight. So I can layer this back on again. And so I need to put some Daffodil Delight just on either side here. So I'm just going to come in with my brush and just rub some Daffodil Delight in the edges. And then I can use this to make sure that I've got it in the right place. And it's not bad, but I've put it too far over on this side. So I'm just going to add some there. And that's it for the Daffodil Delight. And then I'm going to use the Pear Pizzazz to add some greenery, so add some green for the greenery. So I'm going to line this up again, and I need green kind of all around the edges here. So I am going to just layer this in all around the edge like this. And again, you just keep lining up your die to make sure you've got it where you want it to go. And that's good there. So I need to come in all the way around this edge here, all the way down in front of the pink. And let's just have a look at that again and make sure that we are good for coverage. And I think we are. That looks really, really good, actually. So I'm going to close my ink pad. And then I'm going to layer this up in the cutting plates. So I just put this down. I lay this out where I want it. And I sandwich it up. And then I can run it through. This one, it's a really detailed die, so you will need your sponge and your wire brush and perhaps a little pick tool to get all the pieces out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my foam mat and put it on my foam mat before any of the small pieces fall out. I can peel the die off. And you can see it's cut all the way through. Some of that is actually the adhesive sheet that's in behind. So I'm just going to kind of pull this out. And let's just try. Let's see what happens if I do this. If I just peel the backing off, I'm just going to see what's going to stay with the backing and what's going to come with the front. There we go. So we can do this. Okay, not all the dots are staying on the paper, but we can peel it off like that. And most of it, you can see, has actually stayed on the adhesive paper. So we can take that and we can throw it away. And then we're just going to need, the nice thing about the adhesive paper is you can just stick the dots to your fingers kind of thing, and they come off. So let's just get rid of that piece. And we've got a piece stuck in behind here. And okay, so I'm just going to take those. Now I'm going to take my pick and go through and pick those little bits out. This is the finicky bit. It takes a little bit of time just to get rid of those last few sticky bits. But putting the adhesive paper on the back really does help with this, because most of the bits just go with the backing. Okay, so that looks like we've got those out. So now I'm going to take this and I'm going to layer it onto the front of the card. And I'm going to put it like that. And just press it down like that. And there we go. And you can just scrape the extra sticky bits off your fingers if they're bugging you. And then we can use our Stampin' Seal and adhere the card front to the card base, and we are done. It's a really, really simple but really effective card as well. And I haven't used crumb cake for quite a while. It used to be one of my go-tos, and then, you know, things change a little bit. But that is the thank you card using the Artistically Inked Thank You with the artistic die, this one, and using the Tasteful Textile 3D embossing folder. So thank you so much for watching, and we will see you next time.